The Lord be with you.
With your spirit.
Reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus told his disciples this parable. A man going on a journey called in his servants and entrusted his possessions to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to a third 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. Immediately the one who received 5 talents went and traded with them and made another 5. Likewise, the one who received 2 made another 2. The man who received 1 went off and dug a hole in the ground and buried his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants came back and settled accounts with them. The one who had received 5 talents came forward, bringing the additional 5. He said, "Master, you gave me 5 talents. See, I have made 5 more." His master said to him, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. Since you were faithful in small matters, I will give you great responsibilities. Come, share your master's joy." Then the one who had received 2 talents also came forward and said, "Master, you gave me 2 talents. See, I have made 2 more." His master said to him, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. Since you were faithful in small matters, I will give you great responsibilities. Come, share your master's joy." Then the one who had received the 1 talent came forward and said, "Master, I knew you were a demanding person, harvesting where you did not plant, and gathering where you did not scatter. So out of fear, I went off and buried your talent in the ground. Here it is back." His master said to him in reply, "You wicked, lazy servant, so you knew that I harvest where I did not plant, and gather where I did not scatter. Should you not then have put my money in the bank, so that I could have got it back with interest on my return? Now then, take the talent from him and give it to the one with 10. For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will grow rich. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. And throw this useless servant into the darkness outside, where there will be wailing and grinding of teeth." The Gospel of the Lord. Napoli. Napoli. It is a very old city. Napoli was founded by the Greeks in 8000 BC. It is one of the oldest continuously occupied cities in the world. Napoli is in Italy. In English, we call it Naples. It's the 3rd largest city in Italy after Rome and Milan, and has about 1 million people, so it's a large place. When you're there, you can look out and see Mount Vesuvius. When you're driving by on the freeway, you can see the remains of Pompeii that was destroyed in 79 AD. I spent some time in Naples last week. Had a wonderful time eating great food and meeting great people. One thing I learned about their culture is they have a way of dealing with poor people that I thought was very creative. They have the 2nd largest population of poor people in Italy, in Naples. They have a practice that they call sospeso. Sospeso. What that means, if you go up to the wagon to buy a cup of coffee, you buy yourself your cup, but you also pay for a second one, and the merchant puts that aside. If you go out to dinner, you buy yourself your dinner, but then you buy a second one. The restaurant will put that money aside. What will happen throughout the day that the poor people will come by because they have no money and ask for a cup of coffee. The merchant will give it to them because you paid for it. Or they'll go to the restaurant and say, I have no money. And they'll feed that person with the money that you paid in the suspeso. It's a suspended act of giving. It's not necessarily a religious activity, it's more a cultural way of behaving. People in Naples have done that for years, taking care of the poor. No one else is going to take care of them, so the people take care of them themselves through the suspeso activity. The gospel today, we hear about helping people. It's a little confusing what this parable is about because it uses the word talent. In English, a talent is a natural ability or aptitude. Natural ability, you can play the violin, you can throw a football, you can write a book. That's a talent, but that's not what this is about. Talanton is the Greek word, and it's a unit of weight. In the ancient days, they have a scale, and if you were going to weigh out a little bit of gold or silver, you would put it in the scale and balance it out. Talanton. Scholars say that it was probably a little bit less than an ounce. And so if you give someone a talanton, you gave them a unit of gold or silver. So in the gospel, we hear about the master giving out talents. He's giving them treasure, talanton, a little bit of gold or silver to take care of. And although the first reading of the parable may sound like a course in economics, invest your money, play the stock market, get interest from your bank, that's not what that parable is about. It has nothing to do with that. What it has to do is using the gifts given to us by God to help others. Talanton that we're given in this life. We're called to receive those gifts from God, as we've talked about when we mentioned stewardship. Receive the gifts from God, they're freely given. We don't deserve any of them. The gifts that each of us given today are freely given. We do not earn them, we do not deserve them. And they can disappear in a heartbeat, literally. And so we receive the gifts from God. We're called then as stewards to cherish the gifts, to appreciate them, to thank God for them, to use them, but also to turn and use the gifts to help others. Reach out to them in their need and support them. The third person in the parable who got one talanton and went and buried it in the ground. That's someone who has gifts from God and never uses them for anybody but him or herself. It's all about me. It's all about me doing it. Problem with that, it doesn't do anything. So, okay, you take your talanton and just keep it for yourself. But the person that had 5 talanta or 2 talanton, they used them. They gave them away. And that's what we're called to do with our gifts, is to use them, but give them away. And that way we get rewards back from God. So the person who used the 5 talents in the parable got 5 more, but that's representative of the gifts the person received for using those resources to help other people. Reach out to others. And so it's just like in Naples, they use that custom of suspeso to feed the poor, take care of them, to know that the person can approach a place with food and know they're going to get fed because you paid for it. And they have confidence in that support from the people. So we too are called to use our abilities, our talents, our treasures, the time that we have in this life to reach out to others, give to them. We use our talents by giving them away, and in doing that, we receive back more than we gave. So we're called to use those talents in a good way. My own particular view of this is that the best gift given is an anonymous one. Think of someone this week. It's Thanksgiving, for heaven's sakes. Think of someone this week that you can help, but do it in a way they don't know who did it. They don't know where that gift came from. They have nobody to thank but God. That way you do it in a way that's clean. You're not looking for gratitude. You're not looking for a big hug or a sense of, well, now I've got to do something for you, sort of bargaining sort of attitude. You did it freely because you give the way God gives us gifts. He gives us gifts freely. We give them too. So we find people this week to give that gift to, but do it in a way they don't know who did it. Whether it's money or it's time or it's something, a project that you're doing for them or whatever, but do it in a way that they don't know who to thank other than God. In that way, we act like God. We share in God's creative activity by reaching out to others and giving them the gifts and sharing them what God gives to us each day.